Hello, this is Up to Snuff with the newest series, completed To Your Eternity, Season 2. And this one I am very excited to talk about. I had a lot of high hopes going into this one, and I really think a lot of other people did too. And, the unfortunate truth of this is this show was overshadowed. Now, I know this started in the fall of 2022, but it's 20 episodes long and got into the fall of 2023. So, first of all, I gotta say, this show, it was good. It was good, to say the least, but it was overshadowed. And that's really what a lot of people will get out of it. I'm sure a lot of people have probably kind of gotten rid of it after a few episodes in, because it definitely didn't meet the standards of season 1. If you saw season 1 of To Your Eternity, let me tell you, you were privileged to see something greater than the sum of their parts. You saw something incredible, truly incredible in season 1. And I don't want to take that away. I personally didn't even think that they would do this, that they would have another season. I didn't think that, personally, I thought the plot was fine in season 1. They got everything they needed to done. But in season 2, things changed. First of all, there was a time skip. Now, listen, if at the end of a series there's a time skip, that's all well and good. It's fine. But they're doing that to start another season. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it definitely doesn't come across as friendly. Like, the last thing I really want to do is compare the two seasons, but they're going to be compared in the end. It's pretty obvious that season 1 is the stronger season, but season 2, it does have some moments that are really emotional, but a lot of them are towards the end. It's a lot more plot driven. The plot is a lot more in season 1, the plot was a lot more of action this, death that, depression this. It really got to you very quickly, and things changed quickly. You had to adapt. You had to learn how it was going to go, the setup of everything. Season 2 was totally different. Season 2, much slower development, much slower. The arcs of the season, they were a lot larger, and in the beginning, they really ended up amounting to a lot less of a reaction that season 1 would give. Now, this was done just so that in the end of season 2, that you'd get a lot more of a reaction, but was it worth it? Season 1 gave you a lot of emotional reactions time after time. That's well and good. But season 2 goes slower. It doesn't have necessarily the same amount of it has the same plot, but it doesn't have the same gripping plot that season 1 had. It didn't go as quickly. That could have done some damage to it. They dedicated a lot of episodes to a lot of things that personally they could have gotten done with a lot sooner, honestly. But they were really going for the full effect. I'm not going to get angry at that, but I will tell you that it does take away from a lot of stuff that they could possibly have done. So I had some high hopes for this, but you know what? When you have the development that it had, it really kind of takes away from everything that you were really expecting. But it wasn't a fail. It wasn't a failure. I just want to make that clear. It was not a failure in the least. Now, I'm not here to necessarily give a ton of spoilers, because I think that really, if this is supposed to get you, whether it's supposed to possibly get you interested in the show, I don't want to spoil it for you. To talk about the plot a little bit more, the plot did work off of season 1 a lot of the same characters you saw, but you did see a lot of new ones, a lot of very interesting characters And I really think that they're worth talking about. I mean, you still have March from season 1, if you've seen it. March, Gugu, Tonari. Tonari you see a lot more in the beginning and end. But it's nice that they got the voice actors from them as well. Season 2 is definitely a completely different approach. We see Fushi having a different goal. Yes, he still cares about everyone, but he goes about it in a slightly more convoluted way. I don't think it was a very bad way. You're going to see he spreads himself thin. And that's pretty much the entirety of season 2. It leads to a lot of problems. Obviously, it leads to enough problems where you got a plot, but if you're looking for like what characters to look out for in season 2, definitely Messar. He's definitely interesting. I mean, you can look at this on the list of characters in the show. You could completely do that. Another good character is Echo. I really liked Echo. Really great character. I'm not going to say like how many of these died. Obviously, it's a sad show, so, don't be surprised if some do. I swear I can never get this guy's name down, but he's a good character for the most part. Banchin Nicoli Latisti Peach Uralis. I swear it's like an entire sentence in French. That's his name. He's a prince and he's pretty eccentric, but he's fun to be around. Nevertheless, yes, he does have some flaws, but it gets better if you really want to know. Other good characters to look out for. Kahak, definitely. Is that him? Could be him. I don't really look too closely at the character names, but I believe that's who it is. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying to get all the characters that you'd probably be interested in. Cyrilla, I swear it's so hard to do that. He's part of the church. You're going to realize there's a church, and kind of out to get Fushi. I know, kind of a spoiler there, but you don't know until you watch. It's definitely very interesting. And of course, you have kind of the mysterious guy in the black cloak. You'll learn more. You may not learn that much more about him, but he really kind of controls Fushi in a sense. Now on to something a little bit different. Less emotion in season 2. You're going to want certain stories, certain moments, certain episodes to give you that rush, but most don't. And, listen, is it trying to make certain episodes more important in the long run? Yes, it is. It definitely hits hard in the end of the season. Now, why do I say that? I'm looking at the average score. 2 days ago, before the actual last episode came out, it was a 77 average score and even mean score. It was a strong 77. Listen, I respected it. It makes sense. But final episode comes and goes, and it's now a 79 for average and mean score. Like, completely, it's 79. It was a strong final episode. Do I think that it was the strongest episode of the entire series? Probably not. Listen, season 1 really hit us with some really tough stuff to watch. It was kind of as strong as what's that other show that is really disturbing? In the abyss. I'm not saying it right. I feel bad. Into the Abyss. I'm so stupid. What is it? Made in Abyss. Yes, it's like Made in Abyss because just of how disturbing it truly is. Kind of getting off topic there. In season 2, this is kind of a spoiler. Fushi actually is able to make people immortal. This is a big deal. Think about it. So he's able to remake people alive. To everyone else, that may be like, oh, that's amazing. But to me, I'm thinking, no one's going to die. And if no one's going to die, that's going to lead to extreme population growth. You're going to need, listen, he can make more food, but showing people that they're never going to die. I mean, that's a horrible thing in general. While it is, pretty bad in a sense where you don't want it to really be that devastating, because it really is. You teach kids, oh, don't worry, you can do whatever you want. You can't die. I mean, that's going to have a negative impact no matter how you go about it. But they did handle it. I was really worried, but they did handle that properly in the end. So I'm not really going to get crazy about it. I think it was dealt perfectly. And lastly, to talk about before the final rating is season 3. Yes, there is a season 3 to Your Eternity. It said in the final kind of credit that it's already in production. So if you're worried about like, oh my God, I wanted to see more and I wanted it to prove itself once again, well, we have that. And oh my God, in the last scene of To Your Eternity, possibly if you want to call it a spoiler, you can. But he's in the digital age. I mean, that's crazy. To see Fushi in the digital age, to see him surround everything. He kind of said in the last part that he surrounded the entire world. He was able to get it done. And now, is that just, to get you interested in, what season 3 has to offer? That to each their own. Season 3 is going to be definitely something else. Him in the digital age. Now, first of all, that's going to be a lot more brutal. Everyone to the extreme. Now, he's definitely taken over everything by how it looked. In a good way. It does give a lot to think about. Are people accepting of him? And I don't even know where you go with this. I mean, you just gave a glimpse at the digital age, nowadays with Fushi in it. Are you going to skip like 2,000 years of growth? I don't know. I have no clue. But regardless, I know it'll be interesting. The show definitely left everything from the past 2 seasons in the past. No strings attached. It should all be good. Now then, it's time to go to the final rating. Yeah, that. Now, I'm probably going to have to explain this a few times because, not everyone will watch the same video as the first time, first video being this. But anyway, all my life I had, it's A to F. Now, maybe a little different for you. Now, yes, there were grades like 0 to 100, but I don't want to do it numerically for many reasons. I don't really want to get into that, but I prefer just letters. Listen, it's hard to grade a show, but I'm not grading it just on how much I liked it. I'm also grading it on how much I think other people will like it, especially in tandem to what season 1 had to offer. But I also want to say if it had a great plot, if it had great characters, it's still deserving of a good grade. F is like failing. D is below average. Like really, really not good. C minus normally is like generic. C is average. B is considered above average. And A is considered outstanding. Now, this show, it's I'm going to have to putting all things into account, I'm going to give this a B. Roughly, I'm going to give it a B. You could give it something else, but I hope you enjoyed all of this.